Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Welcome you to Start English IELTS preparation with IELTS Doctor. Morning, everyone. Welcome you to Start English IELTS preparation with IELTS Doctor. Good morning, Simran. So good morning, guys. So now let's see what is bar graph. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the bar graph. What is bar graph actually? Bar graph is nothing but a pictorial representation of data wherein every independent variables attains only discrete value and they are used for representing various type of datas. So the bar chart is one of the most frequent method to use used to present various type of data. It is usually asked in the data interpretation section in the competitive exams as well as in IELTS. So in data interpretation, it is only the representation of data where the vertical bar are placed at equal distances from each other. The value of the data represented is given by the heights and length of the bars. The width here is not important. It is only used that presentation is clear. They are like plotted against the horizontal axis known as the x-axis actually, and the value can be shown by the colored or shaded vertical bar of equal width. So in horizontal bar graph, the values are plotted against the vertical axis called y-axis, and they are commonly used as a data can be easily analyzed. So first of all, you need to understand what are the basic type of bar graph, right? So the bar graph, we have the commonly four types. We have the four type for the bar graph. So this the first one is the simple, then composite, then stacked, and the bar graphs to show the deviation. So now let's see what are those types. So what is the simple bar graph bar chart? Actually, at the name suggests simple chart is the simplest bar of all. It is used to describe one continuous variable along with the one discrete value, and the figure below shows the proper representation of the simple chart, right? So it's in a single means there would not be any other category apart from it, as there the four category are stated here. But if it's just given as a single, right? So it's one. You can talk about discrete value. So this is one discrete value only, so you can see. So this is called a simple graph. So then the next is there uh, composite bar chart. In the bar chart, to solve the limitations of simple chart, composite bar chart is used. We use a composite bar chart to show two or more than two continuous variables on the same graph, right? Means in this one graph, the more two or more than two composites are being illustrated, so that is called a composite bar chart. And this figure below show to describe a composite bar chart looks like, so it would be something like in this way. So it's in one stack, it is given with the another information. So now let's see what is a stacked bar graph, right? Because dear, as you people are appearing in IELTS, so it is very important for all of you to have a look of all these things. So it is also very necessary to focus on the type of graph that we get. So stacked bar chart are used to represent the breakup of the content for continuous variables. So it is very convenient to use it for comparing different sets of data. It can be used to represent factors such as revenues, profits, loss over a period, and and for a couple of years. So the figure below describe the same. So these are the category which are listed over here. So charts to show deviations, right? So bar chart to show deviations. So what does it mean? Mostly bar charts are used to show the deviations, like, and this is why the bar chart that are used to show the deviation are very common actually. And deviation can be show can show the difficult, you can talk about defect, as well as the surplus imports and exports, etc. It is usually required to represent the positive as well as negative values of continuous variables. So it's the information, if it is given something like this, so then it is called uh, bar chart to show deviations. So now let's move further. So as shown in the figure, is a baseline is created wherein the positive value are shown above and the line, while the negative values are shown in the shown below the line, right? So there are the two things, like the one is the positive and then another one is the negative one. So answer the question on the basis of the given figures. So you need to show the answer on the based on the given figure. So which are on the upper side, that are the positives, and which are at the down, so that are the negatives. Although in IELTS topic you would not write something about um, easy or difficult, or you will not talk about any positive and negative in the bar graph, but I'm just making you understand for your own knowledge. So now let's see how to describe a bar chart, right? So in IELTS academic, so information, as you know, the bar graph contains uh, means, first of all, what exactly you need 150 words to write, and around 10 to 15 words you need to write in one sentence, and the bar graph descriptions chart will be made out of 10 to 12 sentences actually. So what we can assign each statement for specific task, right? Means what we can assign for each specific task. So first of all, you should have one sentence for introduction. You should have one sentence for introduction, and another is two sentences for with the superlative form, one sentence with the comparison, a sentence grouping two data points because they are similar, a sentence nothing an exception, a sentence describing some data in advanced manner, a sentence describing the data in a normal fashion, two sentences for summary. Note down that these sentences don't necessarily need to go in this particular order. You must write them in a way that make your bar chart description flow naturally. Although I told you all these areas, but still it is your choice that how you would like to begin. Now let's look at IELTS bar graph description example. So now that we have figured out what we want to write about in the description of the bar chart, so it's time to put our data selection sections skills to use. So it is easy to get lost in all of the information provided by a bar chart, as there can be so much data. So that's why it is important to keep in mind what you are looking for and when you are analyzing the chart. So now here are the strategies and tips for describing bar graph in IELTS writing. So you need to understand what are the strategies for tips and describing the bar chart in IELTS task. So first of all, what you need to do, read and understand the question. First of all, you need to read and understand the question. Second, identify and note the key information. What you need to do, identify and note the key information. Then start with paraphrasing the question. So once you have written, understand it, then identify the keynote, then start with paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means you need to paraphrase the given words in the question booklet. Use numeric data and explain in detail. Further is there, keep a watch on your word count and time. So keep a watch on word count and the time. Use proper vocabulary and grammar. You need to use proper vocabulary and grammar. Further, you need to maintain continuously with the transition words. You should have good knowledge of transition words, and don't give your opinion. So keep in your mind, in IELTS writing task 1, you would not give your opinion. Your opinion is not being asked in that, so it is advised to all of you, kindly do not add your personal opinion in the bar graph, or in any IELTS graph your personal opinion is not required. Further, read and understand the question. It is one of the most important key of writing a successful task 1. So you need to read and understand the question. Obviously you have a graph in front of you containing certain information. You don't go straight to answer the task, right? So read the instructions carefully and understand what is asked to do. You need to show your information in a well manner. So what exactly you need to do further? Identify and note the key information. Identify and note the key information. So after you read the requirement of the question, you out together the key information for an effective task achievement. So further is collect all the numerical data and plan according to the question. So you need to plan everything accordingly subject to the question. Further is grammar for IELTS. Let's have a look at the major writing consequences. So you need to understand the grammar. So grammar is very important part of IELTS, as you know, it's required in speaking and writing section especially. So it's very necessary for all of you to emphasize on grammar and the writing consequences. So now let's look at the tenses. Actually, it is essential to understand the 12 verb tenses in English grammar for IELTS, right? It is essential to understand 12 verbs and tenses in the English grammar for IELTS. They are, what are the 12? Simple present, simple past, simple future, present continuous, past continuous form, future continuous, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect. Present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous. Based on the topic, you have to use the appropriate tenses. If your data is given in the past, go in the past form. If it is given in the present, so you need to write it in the present. Or if you are writing it into the future, you need to write it into the future. Along with this, all three categories, you need to understand, is it given in the perfect form, is it given in the continuous form, is it given in the perfect continuous form or future perfect continuous form. So you need to understand every aspects of this. So now let's look at the pronunciation. So like as these are sorry, actually these are the for speaking actually, so it means the punctuations are here actually. So sorry for that. So these are the small symbols like which plays a role in IELTS grammar. So the punctuation, it's an actually I was making another PPT for the speaking. So pronunciation plays a pivotal role in the speaking, so it's also required in the writing as well. So that's for the punctuation marks actually, not for the pronunciation. So punctuation marks too are used for delivering your essay in a good manner. So what are the punctuation marks over here? So punctuation marks are here with various type. It's the comma, like, and the colon, semicolon, apostrophe, so square brackets, full stop, question mark, braces, hyphens, and exclamation point or exclamation marks are used for describing your graph in a well proper way. Now let's look at what is more required in bar graph. So it is important for you to write compound sentences. These are most important sentence types for IELTS writing and speaking sections. So the compound sentences were formed by the combination of simple or independent clause using the coordinate conjunctions actually. So the major conjunctions include are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, right? So these are the compound sentences, so that you need to focus over it. Further is the complex sentence. The sentence is formed with the combination of dependent and independent clauses, right? The sentence is formed with the combination of dependent and independent clauses is called a complex sentence. A independent clause is incomplete and has no proper meaning until and unless it is combined with independent clause. I'm repeating it once again for you. A dependent clause is incomplete and has no proper meaning until and unless it has combined with independent clauses. For an example, independent clause is what? I heated it in the microwave. I heated it in the microwave. So this is an independent clause. And what is a dependent clause? So my pizza is too cold. My pizza is too cold. So because of my pizza is too cold, I heated it in the microwave, right? So that becomes a complex sentence. So compound and complex sentence is the another requirement. So what is the compound and complex sentence? So a sentence that contains both compound sentences and complex sentences within it is termed as the compound complex sentences. So example is there. For an example, like Greta cried when her puppy got sick, so but he soon got better, right? So this is a compound plus complex sentence. This is a compound plus complex sentence. Another is the passive sentences. Passive sentences are obviously required in writing task 1. So sentences that convey the meaning in a passive manner. The sentences that convey the meaning in a passive manner are known as passive sentences. Sentences that convey the meaning in a passive manner are known as passive sentences. So what are the examples of it? Active sentences. So Ram painted the house. This is an active sentence. So what can be the passive sentence of it? The passive is the house was painted by Ram. So whatever the information is presented to in the bar graph, so you need to write it in the different forms. It requires the different many types of sentences in order to score more better. So now let's look at sentences in reported speech. So sentences in reported speech are also very necessary. So sentences which are not the direct from the defined as the sentences in reported speech. The example is here. I have been waiting for 2 hours. So she said that she would be waiting for 2 hours. So this is a reported speech sentence actually. Next is conditional sentence. Conditional sentence are also very important, right? So it's a very important type of your writing. So the tense is sentences that which start with the words like if, when, unless. Keep in your mind the sentences which starts with the word like if, when, unless are called conditional sentence. There are four types of conditional sentences. So, what are the four types of conditional sentences? Zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. I will explain you the combination of all these four conditional sentences. So now let's begin with the analysis of the bar chart and pick out the information that is relevant to our structure. So see the example here in the bar chart. So we have the four things over here which are given in the color. So first of all, calorie source for UK males at different life period. So that is a calorie source for UK males at the different life period. So this is a percentage of total intake. So we have the three you can talk about period. So the first period is 0 to 24, second is 25 to 49, and the third is over 50. So the blue one color, so you can see first dairy, then meat, then pulses, then vegetables, right? So that's the like you can talk about the purple one, so blue you can see even. So that's the dairy one. So then the meat is that's the orange one, and pulse is the yellow, and the vegetables that's the green one actually. Sorry, this one is a red color actually. So further is how write bar graph introduction, how to write, sorry, so like how to write bar graph introduction. So bar graph introduction something like this. First of all, this is the thing which you need to paraphrase. This is the one important thing you need to paraphrase. Calorie source for UK meals at different life period. So how we can paraphrase it? So we have the category 0 to 24, 25 to 49, and over 50. The given the bar chart gives an idea. The bar chart gives an idea about the comparative analysis of the caloric intake of UK males in three distinct age group, so 24, 49, 25 to 49, and over 50 years and over 50 years old. So what exactly you need to do? The bar chart gives an idea about the comparative analysis of the caloric intake. So what does it mean? Talk about intake means it shows the calorie source, means how do they take, so that is called intake of UK meals. Three distinct means three different categories are there, so which are 0 to 24, 25 to 49, and over 50. So now let's look at body paragraph step 1. So you need to understand what is the body paragraph step 1. So this is the step 1. So step 1 is what? This is the step 1. 0 to 24 is the step 1. So first we need to describe it. So like really for the 0 to 24 is group was the highest source of calories. This is the highest source of calories, whilst the other categories each represented about 20% of each. So this is the 20%, you, so they represent the 25 like percent of each. But if you talk about the dairy one, so that is the 40% actually you can talk about. So in this next age group, dairy fell means in the next age group the dairy fall to around a quarter, right? It fall around a quarter means it was on 40% and now it has been declined around 15%, sorry, 25% here. So like in the next age group, dairy around fall a quarter, and the meat became the main source of calories. So now the meat has increased in the next category 0 25 to 49. So meat, the consumption you can talk about, or the requirement of the meat has increased. So the meat became the main source of calorie, reaching the half of the total intake. So we have the total intake is the 70%. It has reached to the like reaching half of the total intake. So half of the total intake means it's on the 50%. That's why we have written half on the total intake. Further is the body paragraph step 2. So first we have already described 0 to 25. So now bit we had explained 0 25 to 49. So now pulses and vegetables reached 10% and 15% respectively. You can see these are the pulses and you can this the vegetable, so that's the 10% you can see over here. So when you are writing two figures at once and when with a minor difference, so you write for an example, pulses and vegetables reached 10% and 15%. So that is the respectively. So respectively word is used to describe the two different things for the two categories. Further is there pulses in the final age group increased sixfold. Pulses in the final age group, right? So this is a final age group. So final age group is 0 to 20 over 50. So it is not always necessary for you to write it's the 50% or whatever the uh, you can talk about information is represented to you. So simply what you can do, you can simply write the first category, second category, and the last one. So pulse is in the final age group. So you can write it 0 to 25 is the first age group, 25 to 49 is the second age group, and over 50 is the third age group, right? So you can even talk about the final age group. So pulses in the final age group increased sixfold to over 60%, whereas calories obtained from vegetables was 10%, half that of meat. So meat is 20% and the vegetable is 10%. So half of the meat is 20% and evenly slightly less than dairy 15%, right? So further body paragraph step 2. So in the step 2 or like 3, sorry, what you are going to write more, the 50 plus age group shows the most marked preference out of all of all the groups. So this is the 50th one. So the 50 plus group shows the most marked preferences out of all groups, means this is one of the most, means you can talk about the highest point. So the highest is pulses. So it also confirms the gradual decline in vegetable. It also confirms the gradual decline in vegetable. See guys, here in the first age group, the why we have written here, it also confirms the gradual decline in vegetable. Why have we have written this sentence? In 0 to 24 in the first age group, like the green vegetable or sorry vegetables were 20%, and in the next age group 25 to 49% it declined. I think it's around 5 to 7% actually. And in the last, if we talk about over 50, so it just remained 10%, means it was 20% and decreased by 10%. So we can talk about, means a gradual decline was there in the vegetable consumption as males become older. So how to describe summary? It is very necessary for you even to understand how to describe summary as well. So to describe summary, it is very necessary to emphasize on the beginning and ending of the graph. Overall it is clear that each age group has a clear favorite which varies depending on age. Means in the first, like it overall it is clear each group has a clear favorite which varies depending on age. So what was favorite? So dairy was favorite in 0 to 24, then like meat was in 25 and 49, and over 50 is pulses. So these are the three categories. So each has their own favorite, you can talk about item of eating subject to their age group. However, vegetables are consistently amongst the least popular, right? So the least popular was the talk about vegetables regardless of age. So in all these categories, if I talk about like so pulses, sorry, the vegetables were least popular. Least word we use, which is the lowest one. So for the lowest one out of the total categories, so we use the word least for describing such trend. So final explanation with the proper paragraphing. So guys, in last clips I made you understood uh, with the other informations, means I described each information with the different paragraphs. So now I just would like to represent you a final answer of a graph. So finally, first of all, you need to understand this one bar graph. So like the calorie source for UK males at different life period, so that is the percentage of total intake. So we have the four things, so that is the dairy, meat, pulses and vegetables. So three categories of age are here: 0 to 24, 25 to 49 and over 50%. So in first, dairy is popular. Second popular item in 25 to 49 group is the meat, and the third is the pulses with the over 50 age group. So now you need to see how it is being formed. So the bar chart shows the caloric intake of males in three distinct age groups: 0 to 24, 25 to 49, 25 to 49, sorry, and over 50 years old. So first, if you would start to write it, how you will start to write it? So dairy for 0 to 24 age group was the highest source of calories, which whilst the other categories each represented about 20% each. And in the next age group, dairy fell to around a quarter, means here you can see there was around 45, so it has been increased. So sorry, decreased by 25%, so it's in a quarter, almost a quarter actually. So it's an in the next age group, dairy fell to around a quarter and meat became the main source of calories. So the meat, this is the meat actually, and it became the main source of calories. So it's 50% in the second age group of 25 to 49, so became the main source of calorie, reaching half of the total intake. Pulses and vegetables reached 10% and 15% respectively. So 10% and 15% respectively was the pulses. And in the pulses in the final age group increased sixfold over to 60. So you can talk about like it increased by sixfold, means increased by, it increased six times more than the requirement. So let's take an example. It was 10% over here, so it increased by more than 60, so it's on a sixfold actually I can talk about. So pulses in the final age group increased sixfold to over 60%, whereas calories obtained from vegetable was 10%, whereas calories obtained from vegetable was 10%. Half of the meat, 20%, meat was 20%, so we have written 10%, so that is the half of the meat. And even slightly less than dairy, so dairy was just 15%. And in the further is the, you can, we will describe this one now. So the 50 plus age group shows the most marked preference out of all the groups. So it confirms the gradual decline in the vegetable consumption as the meal became older. So finally we are writing its overall. So like overall it is clear that each age group has a clear favorite, uh, which varies depending on the age. And further is, however, vegetables are consistently amongst the least popular regardless of age. So you can see like the vegetable is here, this one and this one. So we can see a continuous declining trend is here. So that's why it is we say we can say it that it is least popular one actually. Further is final steps on describing a bar graph. So after you have successfully written out your description with all the information you wanted to include, go over it and replace some simpler words into more academic ones. This will get you more marks. If you think there is something to be changed, so just go with your graph and change the information. It is very important for you to take a good look of all that things. So check that the whole text is free of errors and mistake. So you need to check like, is my complete topic that I have written is free of errors and mistake. Next is practice with the different bar charts to improve. Every day you need to practice by using different charts in order to describe it in a well way. So review the superlatives. These are essential if you want to effectively describe the chart. So review the superlatives. So these are essential if you want to effectively describe the chart, so it is important for you to write superlatives in that. Further is final step of the bar graph. So what is the final step? Draw a conclusion from the bar chart. Getting specific results from the charts will help you again, so gain marks, as it shows that you can interpret and understand the information given to you. So now let's see the vocabulary for the writing task 1. So it is very important, you need to emphasize on the vocabulary for the writing task 1. So now I'll be discussing about the vocabulary for the writing task 1. So no. Where is that? So guys, this is all about for the session today. So in the next video you will learn with me the vocabulary for the IELTS writing task 1, and in tomorrow's session again we would be focusing on the writing task 2, right? So in the along with this I will explain you task 1, and parallelly I would be explaining you the task 1 as well. So keep watching me. Thank you so much for joining my lesson today. Thanks a lot. Have a nice time.